Hey everybody, Brad here with Arizona Grows. Welcome to my garden. Only today, we're not in the garden, we're out in the dining room. I just wanted to take a moment to go over some of the products I use and just talk about them really quick from the Reamend video. What happened in the Reamend video I noticed is you couldn't really see some of the items and stuff. I didn't get a chance to talk about them as much because I was worried about building the soil. So I thought it'd be nice to just kind of come back and just talk about a few things really quick and what I use, and what you can use, if you only have the money to buy a couple products instead of everything that I've, picked up over time that you use. Some of these things you use, like Build a Bloom. I've had the same bag for like a year. You throw in a teaspoon and you're watering every now and then, and that's it. It's not a really big deal. But, yeah, so let's just get into it and talk about it. First things first, I think we'll talk about our our base nutrients. I'm transitioning away from using Down to Earth. Nothing against them. Great product. You can buy one of these boxes like anywhere for like 15 to 20 bucks. The Biofish, really fun. I don't know anything about how they source stuff. I feel like BuildASoil may be the best at sourcing things, but I don't know anything about Down to Earth or their business practices or anything, so it's not a knock against them. I have my Gaia Green and my BuildASoil stuff. I don't need to supplement with an extra product when I can get like the stuff in Biofish from my crustacean meal or the ocean blend from BuildASoil. This though, the Biofish, my favorite. This is my favorite thing from Down to Earth. It's just a great mix. It's going to add in some of those other things that you're trying to get from like crustacean meal, stuff like that. You're going to pick up in the Biofish 772. All right, and we are back. So we've talked enough about the Biofish. Again, I don't know a lot about Down to Earth, the company, but I have enjoyed their products. I can tell you adding these to my grow has not harmed them in any way, I think. In fact, the Biofish probably adds a little. And one thing I found with organics, it's like, it's great. You can use craft blend and only use craft blend in worm castings and do really, really well. But just like everybody else, like, hey, if I'm eating a Kobe steak every night, like that's pretty good, right? Like I'm like, ooh, steak. Or if I'm eating Wagyu, it's like you're eating the best of the best. But after you eat steak every day for 6 months, you're probably dying for a piece of chicken. So I think like with organics is sometimes when your plants are getting different sources, they kind of like that. Just like a person would, right? So Gaia Green sources their materials from somewhere else, then BuildASoil does, then Down to Earth does. Now there's only a few major distributors for a lot of that stuff, but I would say that you have a pretty good chance that at least some of the things in each one are coming from somewhere different. Maybe a different field, different distributor, somewhere along the way. Gaia Green is Canadian, so they have a lot of stuff there. I'm pretty sure Down to Earth, also a United States company, just like BuildASoil. But I know BuildASoil has to order some of their stuff international. So just things to keep in mind. Biofish, great product. Really enjoyed it. I'm going to use it until this box is gone. I also have their insect frass, some gypsum, and a little bit of bat guano I bought when I first started growing. I'll use all of them until they're gone. And then I probably won't re-up them unless I need something specific that I can't get from BuildASoil for a great price. Otherwise, Down to Earth, probably not going to use too much anymore, but it's a great starting place. I love that it comes in a cardboard box that's recyclable or compostable if you want to. I don't do anything like that. I'm afraid with cardboard that they're and I don't, again, know down to earth practices, but there could be PFAS, something in the cardboard. A lot of cheap cardboard has bad stuff in it, so I try not to compost that stuff or put it in my bin. Next up, we're going to talk about Gaia Green. We have the all-purpose and the Power Bloom. Both of these work incredibly well. I'm a big fan of the 444. Just their all-purpose. It works great. And the Power Bloom, it's going to have the extra phosphorus that you need to try and get through. Also, when you're using that, if you do like a little root wise, or if you have recharge, but Rootwise also makes a biophos, which is microbes that are specifically tailored to help release the phosphorus in your stuff, so it's great when you're going into bloom or flower. This is nice because I feel like the craft blend is probably more like a 444. It's a nice general mix, and it probably has different spikes. I haven't looked at the exact way they do it because they use a lot of different seeds and things, but I'm expecting it to be more like a 444. And so when you need a big boost, that's why you reach for something else. And that's also probably why BuildASoil offers, different products, different things that they use to build up those other numbers. But these are the main things that I have. BuildASoil, the main thing you're going to get is the craft blend. This is a great product. It smells like you could eat it. Now, you can't say that about Gaia Green. You definitely can't say it about this biofish. I mean, the biofish, a little bit stanky. But BuildASoil craft blend, it almost smells like a fancy oatmeal mix. And I feel like a lot of that's from, this the Coots mix, the ground up Coots mix, the gnarly barley that goes in there. That plays a big part in it when you grind up your own gnarly barley, which I mostly use just to feed the worms. They love it. It's like they just get right in there, and then they're breaking up all your other nutrients. So if you put in some gnarly barley with your craft blend and stuff, they get into it faster because they really like the ground up seeds. But the craft blend just smells. It smells like something that you would want. So it's the heady. Now, if you could only do like one thing, let me go off on a couple tangents. Now, if you could only do craft blend as a small supplement because it was more expensive and you wanted to use Gaia Green as a base, you could totally do that. I'd get the Power Bloom from Gaia Green, craft blend, and I would use those two. Skip the 444 from if you're going to use the craft blend. The one thing I would say is to watch out for when you buy these. They come in bigger sizes. The small tub here, it's like $20, $25 normally, Gaia Green. When you order online, could be less in your local store. Somewhere around there, 25 bucks for the tub. It's 2.2 pounds, I believe. You can then get a 20-pound bag. Well, the 20-pound bag is only $60, right? It's 10 of these, which are $25 a piece, but it's only $60 for the big bag. And then they have a 40-pound bag. The 40-pound bag's only like $80. So if you find something that you like, you can do that. BuildASoil with the craft blend, same thing. They make bigger sizes, but if you're really looking to cash in on this last one, I bought a 40-pound bag from BuildASoil during their Black Friday sale, I guess, and man, it was reduced down to a decent price. It was almost, it might have been as cost efficient as the Gaia Green. I couldn't believe it. So just keep an eye out, when they're trying to move some of that stuff at the end of the year, because they have new orders coming in. If you're BuildASoil, you have to order in advance. So if I make 4 tons of this, and then I have 4 tons of new product coming in so I can mix more of this craft blend, I gotta get rid of all the other craft blend. I don't have space to store the new material and all the bags of the old stuff. So sometimes they do really good sales. Normally end of the year. I believe they do one in April. So you're looking at a 420 sale and an October sale are the big ones. They'll do flash sales in between, but I think those are the big two. They do giveaways and stuff. I've never won anything in a giveaway or anything from them. I've bought all my stuff. Don't do any promotional work or whatever with BuildASoil. Just Auto Pots and Mars Hydro. If you're ever asking, my Mars Hydro sponsored some of my gear. They don't pay me any money or anything, but they have sponsored the light and stuff. And then Auto Pots. I have purchased all my Auto Pots until recently. They provided me with a couple of Trader Grows to show off, and I am about to do that, and I'm very happy about that. So I love Auto Pots. If you end up shopping there, you can use code AZGROWS to save 10%. If you do, I also get a little bit of money, so that's very nice. Somebody bought some Auto Pots the other day. Looked like they bought a whole set, and I'm very thankful that you used my code. So thank you for helping, supporting the channel. That's how I can afford to buy some of this stuff for the channel. And then the other thing I would talk about, if you are only going to use BuildASoil, like that's your thing. Like, I don't want to go anywhere else. I love Jeremy. I just want to do BuildASoil, but you don't have money for like all the little things that, you know, you'll acquire over time. Like next time you buy Craft Blend, you'll pick up, you know, the Build-A-Bloom, and then next time you buy Craft Blend, you won't need any more Build-A-Bloom, so you can pick up the Big 6, or you can pick up the Narbar, or whatever, you know, you can pick up something else. And that's kind of how I acquired all this stuff, normally on their sales. But if there's only two things that you can afford to get, I would get the Craft Blend, and I would get the Build-A-Bloom. The Build-A-Bloom has calcium in it. It's going to get you all the phosphorus that you need for happy, healthy flowers. I've had this, like I said, this is the, I don't even know what size this is. I don't think it says on there. But I've had this for like a year. It's just an absolutely great product. I think I picked this one up at Arizona Moonlight Grow locally because it has a price sticker on it. And when you buy them from BuildASoil, they won't have one. But if you could only do two products, Craft Blend, Build-A-Bloom is where I would go. Anything after that that you want to add, like the Build-A-Flower is nice, but that's just worm castings and Craft Blend with a little Montana grown stuff. I would say start your own worm bin. You buy the Craft Blend, you have the Build-A-Bloom, you basically got your Build-A-Flower. You're right there. Next, before I added anything else, it would depend on, you know, money, right? Like, do I have enough to buy two things? If I did, I would get the Big 6. This is all your like micronutrients or you know, copper. It's all your big stuff that you don't get from the BuildASoil Craft Blend, because the Craft Blend is mostly seed meals and stuff like this. This is like humic acids and all that fun stuff. The Big 6 would be my next thing. It's also something, this little thing, I feel like I've had this, I bought a bigger one during this Black Friday, but this little thing's like half gone. I feel like I've had it for a year or two. So when you're adding all the goodies, you know, sometimes Jeremy will go hard. I find you don't even really need to. You know, you throw in a teaspoon of this like once or twice a grow, boom. Plants love it, it's good. It probably leaves enough for the next round. You're not trying to hammer them. It's fantastic. So just something to think about. And then where's the Montana Grow? Up here. Montana Grow is my favorite rock dust in the world. I've used the Gaia Green Glacial rock dust too, but the Montana Grow, absolutely fantastic, guys. It comes from a mine in Oregon, I believe. Might be in Washington, but I feel like it's in Oregon. Jeremy did an awesome special on it on the BuildASoil channel where he had the owner of the mine in there come and talk, and it was really fascinating. But what this does is it has a high silicone content in it. So if you're looking for an organic silica Montana Grow, you're gonna have bigger cell walls. It's gonna be great. This is a little bag. Normally I don't buy those, but I also, on this Black Friday, I bought the 25-pound bag. My feeling is that's probably gonna last, like this bag will last me probably this year. I won't even be dipping into the 25-pound bag until next year. Now that my soil's built and you're just adding a cup for a reamend in a tray to grow, maybe less, half a cup per run. You 3 runs a year, you're 3 cups a year, times my 3 tray to grows, that's 9 cups a year. Well, that's this. So next year we'll get into a new one, but adds up. So if I can only do a couple things, craft blend, the Build a Bloom, next up would be Montana Grow, then Big Six. That would be the order I'd buy in if I had to go slow. You don't need the aloe, you don't need the coconut sugar, you don't need any of that stuff. Ferments, those are all great, and they're going to add something to your grow. But again, you could do BuildASoil in the Build a Bloom, the craft blend in the Build a Bloom, and that's it. And it would totally work, and it would get you through a grow. Next up for me would be Montana Grow. And then after that, it would be the Big Six. I love the Big Six. It's a great little boost for your stuff. Also, when we were building the soil, you're going to see we use the biofish, which probably means we didn't need to use the crustacean meal. We did use the crustacean meal anyway. The crustacean meal is going to provide great benefits. It's got a lot of chitin in it. It's going to do some silica stuff. Your worms are going to grind it down. Mine just go right through it, just especially if it's mixed with the craft blend and the gnarly barley. They go absolutely nuts for that stuff. I don't know if BuildASoil sells the crustacean meal by itself anymore. They've come out with this new product called Ocean Blend. I picked this up on Black Friday. I haven't even opened it yet, so I don't know how it compares. I still have a little bit of this crustacean meal left, which is, man, something I love, which is why I get like the biofish. Crustacean meal's great. The reason I want to get these ocean products though is because buying that Ole Mountain compost, which I love to death, you can't afford to have it. It's like shipping the compost makes it too expensive, which is why I run my own worm bins. But I would say it's the best, and if there was a place that always had a pallet of it sitting around, I would go there and pay $30 a bag and grab it. Not going to pay $50 or $60 a bag for compost. I mean, it's good. It's not that good, especially when I can replace, some of that fish stuff from Ole Mountain with Ocean Blend or the crustacean meal. They're going to take care of that fishy stuff, or even biofish. Man, you can get a thing of biofish for like $20 on Amazon. So if you can't get crustacean meal or BuildASoil in your local area and you're looking to add something from the ocean that just, has seaweed in it, has fish guts, probably some little shells, crustacean shells, the biofish is going to get it done. Down to Earth is like always available. It's always there. A lot of local grocery stores will carry it too because they do a lot of good marketing, and it's easy to set up a little Down to Earth section in your store. I would just, I'm using BuildASoil and Gaia for my main things now, but if you don't have access or it's cost prohibitive, biofish to replace the Ocean Blend or the crustacean meal, totally did it. Gnarly barley, for me, I grind this up. It's mostly to feed the worms. I know it stimulates the microbes and stuff because these are sprouted seeds. This is something Coot talked a lot about with Jeremy. If you haven't seen the episode where Jeremy interviewed Coot, fantastic stuff on BuildASoil. Like, I love those things where you just get to listen to like 2 growers go, oh, this is how I do, and I've been doing it for 30. Like, you learn so much. I also watch this podcast. It's called No-Till Growers. It used to be like 1-hour shows where they put out big episodes, and now he's doing like a daily podcast thing, which I like, but you can go back through the older videos and you can learn a lot. And it's all vegetable farming, nothing to do with cannabis, but absolutely fantastic to watch. I really enjoy that content. Last 2 things I want to talk about as we move on. And just to rehammer home, if you're doing this again, Craft Blend or 444 from Gaia Green and the Build a Bloom. Only things you're going to need to get through a grow. If you can pick up, like Brothers Worm Farm is my favorite worm farm. If you can pick up a Brothers Worm Farm, like even their smallest thing of worms, and start your own worm bin, worms will multiply. Just get a little cocoa You can even get some royal gold with like the two-per with the pumice already in it. The worms will just push the pumice up if they don't want it. Just they'll push it all up to the top and just eat all your veggies. I use all my banana peels, my onion peels, the carrots, everything that's organic that I buy at the grocery store goes in my worm bin, and then it goes into my garden. So that's what I would do. I'd get a little thing of worms, even local. If you can have a local worm farm or something, go grab, a handful. Just need, heck, you can get 10 if you're on a super budget. Like, hey, I need 10 worms. Next month they'll be 50. They grow. So what I would do then, craft blender 444, build a bloom and some worms. Once you can afford a little bit more, you're going Montana Grow, you're hitting the big 6. Also, guys, you can brew teas. Craft blend for me, not as tea soluble as say something as the 444 because the craft blend's a little bit nicer and bigger chunks. I really like to top dress that. 444 is more like dust, definitely great for a tea. If you can't do a tea, something like Organics Alive or Build-A-Veg that BuildASoil now puts out, which is a liquid soluble like veg formula, so it's nitrogen high, is fantastic. It saves you from having to buy a tea brewer and all that stuff. You can just grab a little Build-A-Veg, water it right in, GTG. You see like maybe you didn't feed in time, and you know it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks, it's good to have something like that on hand or to know how to brew a compost tea. But that's it, just my 2 cents on those things. Last things we'll talk about is the mustard meal. I like to just add this in when I do it. I know it'll kill some bug larvae. It also biofumigates, so if you put it on top and it's kind of wet and dark, this will definitely myceliate. You'll get a lot of mycelium, which will, if there's mycelium blanket over the top, larvae can't crawl out. Gnats that land in it would die. So if you're in like an earth box or in under one of those new moon grows covers, and you get the mycelium, that's also gonna fungus gnats. Neem karanja, I just picked this up last time I went to Moonlight Grow, just to experiment with. People have their feelings on neem. I'm not super worried about it because Jeremy talks about it, and I haven't done a ton of my own research yet, but it's not like I'm spraying it on buds that I'm smoking, right? I use some neem oil in veg. If there's bugs, like before I flip to flower, I like to go in and do a nice little spray. But after that, I don't use any. And I picked up this neem karanja mix just because I heard Jeremy talk about it. I literally like a handful in all the soil for the Trader Grow, handful in all the soil for the 3XL. Mixed it in. And I don't know exactly what it'll do, kill bugs or whatever, but I do know it smells. It smells a lot for like 3 or 4 days. When those pellets are breaking down, it is stinky. And you are not gonna, like, I walk in my grow room, I'm like, somebody open a window. So if you're rebuilding soil, like, and that's even in my Tupperware things that I mix the soil in with the lid on, still stinks. So if you're using this, definitely make sure you're okay with that, or you can open a window or something. It's gonna be a little stinky for a few days. And then that's kind of it, guys. I just wanted to touch on everything that I used. You'll see it in the Reamend video, but this is just a little product highlight, things that I go over. I'm trying to think if there's any other major thing that I put in, and I can't think of one. I mean, I use Rootwise or Recharge. I have both of them. Rootwise smells better. Recharge is a little bit more like microbes and Big 6 kind of put together because it definitely has some more humics in it, whereas I don't think Rootwise has any humic acid in it. It's all microbes in the regular Rootwise, so it's a little different. But, find what you can. I haven't tried Stash Blend or anything for Mr. Grow It. I've been happy with what I have, and I haven't had to purchase any more. But you'll find, like, you start down the thing, and all of a sudden, like, one day you just have this, and then the next day, you have this, and then they last, for a long time, like the Gnarly Barley. I use just everything in really small amounts, but I just want to touch on this. Next week, early on, I'll have the video coming out where I mix it all together in the soil. where you can't really see my face or anything, but you can see the soil very well this time, how I distribute it, how I mix it up. So that should be pretty good. But that's it, guys. Just I don't even want to call it quick because it wasn't quick, but just a product highlight video with the stuff that's going in our soil reamend. I'll put that video out in a couple days. This one's going to come out first. But that's it. Brad here, Arizona Grows. Happy growing, everybody. I hope your garden is as plentiful as mine.